were sweating blue?
Yes.
You were sweating blue?
Yeah. Oh my God, this is so weird. All right, I was...
How and why? And did that have anything to do with your
It
hormones?
had nothing to do with... Yeah. So,
Really?
So it had nothing to do with my PCOS.
Yeah.
However, I just think it... So it basically... I've totally forgotten the name of it. If I remember, I will let you know.
Let me know.
Hi guys, welcome back to a whole new season of Reservations for Two, and boy do we have a lineup for you. In this season we will be exploring topics such as intentionally looking after our health, finding peace in our careers and well-being in our community. However, here we also advocate for professional therapy, but also enjoy the joy that comes from dining with friends. So you are welcome to your reservation. Understanding PCOS, Polycystic Ovary Syndrome, is crucial, but not only for those who suffer from it, but also their loved ones and support network. It's about more than just understanding the physical symptoms. It's about acknowledging the emotional toll it can take, from fertility issues to weight management struggles and beyond. Now join me today as I have a reservation with Keisha Sethi, PCOS and fitness advocate and coach, founder of Fitness with Keisha, an extraordinary community dedicated to teaching and guiding women via sharing her own personal experiences with PCOS, and also equipping the wider network of the tools they need to be supportive and intuitive.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me here. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. We've literally been munching away.
I know. The food is so good.
The food is good. The food is really, really good. So today we are talking about Polycystic Ovary Syndrome.
Yep.
In other words, PCOS.
PCOS.
And you are a PCOS advocate.
Yep. I have PCOS myself.
Yeah.
And I work with women with PCOS.
Yeah, you're a coach.
Yep.
So I'm going to let you kind of, what is PCOS? The most basic term.
PCOS is Polycystic Ovary Syndrome. You can have PCOS where you have exactly what the name says, cysts on your ovaries, but then you can have symptoms of PCOS too. Symptoms, there are so many. For example, extreme fatigue, excessive hair growth, hair loss, finding it hard to lose weight, mood changes, loads of things.
So if we kind of just take it back, we was talking before and you were saying that you kind of first, am I right in saying you were diagnosed with PCOS at 13?
I was diagnosed with PCOS when I was 13.
What led up to that?
So I got my period in year 5, the year when you start going swimming lessons with your classmates. I had to skip out on a lot of those. I got my periods really early, but then what started happening was I was getting periods too far between. They were extremely painful. I was breaking out a lot, and not just on my face, but on my back. I started noticing excessive hair growth, and my mum was not sure what was going on because, of course, I'd go to my mum with all of this at that age, and I had no idea what was going on. My mum took me to the doctors, and I didn't actually get diagnosed in the UK.
Where did you get diagnosed?
I got diagnosed in India. So I went to the doctors over here, and I was just told, she's going to grow out of it, don't worry about it. But my mum recognised such a dramatic change in me, just as a person as well. So as a family trip yearly, we would go to India to see my grandparents, and my mum actually took me to a doctor over there and got my PCOS, diagnosed. We did a bunch of scans. I had a bunch of cysts on both my ovaries. They did blood tests. My testosterone levels were very high. And from that, they told me, I can go on the pill. My mum, being an Indian mum, was like, there is no way you're going on the pill because that means you're going to have sex.
You're going to be having sex,
So I didn't go on the pill then. And then I came back here, took those results to the doctors, updated my NHS profile, I suppose. And that was that. That's where I got diagnosed.
That's crazy. And obviously at the age of 13, in truth, I was saying to you before, I don't suffer from PCOS, but I know a lot of my close people do. I don't know much about PCOS. So, and I think it's this kind of it's this thing of where if you're not directly affected by it, I don't think there is enough information out there to know what it is, especially because it affects different people differently. So at the age of 13, when you're told that you have you know, you're noticing all these weird syndromes. You've then gone to India and they've said, okay, you know what, I think there is actually something here. You then come back and they're like, okay, yeah, it's PCOS. How do you take in that information?
Honestly, I didn't take it in then. I ignored it for quite some years. And I didn't really understand it because at that point of diagnosis, I wasn't told, okay, well, here's what you can do. I was told I wasn't overweight at the time, but I was told that I need to lose weight and that my mum needs to stop feeding me Indian food because it's not good for you. And at that point, I decided to just leave it. You know, if you're not given much information, you don't really notice a big difference in how you're feeling because you get used to feeling so drained all the time. Just got on with it. At that point, I think it was entering high school. I was in high school. Just continued about my life. And then it was only until I started getting boyfriends and I thought it might be cool to go behind my mum's back and go on the pill. She knows this now, so if she's watching this, she's not going to be mad. But yeah, so I went on the pill and that's when I noticed
a big difference.
In
what sense?
But it wasn't positive. Oh, no. So for me, I ended up jumping from pill to pill because I was having a lot of anxiety on certain pills. I was breaking out a lot more on some of them, and on some of them my skin was super clear, so it was keeping me on it. Because then you're not worried about, are you going to be able to get pregnant? And that was one thing that I was told upon my diagnosis, oh, you're not going to be able to get pregnant. And obviously my mum hearing that as well just felt so confused because no one in my family had PCOS. So I wasn't worried about the pregnancy side of things. I was like, oh yeah, I'm just going to be this age forever, who cares, type of thing. I guess subconsciously it did affect me a bit, but it was only until I went through a few stressful periods during life and I decided to go and exercise that I started feeling better. And I was like, oh, like, what is this thing that exercise is doing to help me so much right now? And that's when I started looking into, you know, understanding and learning more about training, understanding and learning more about my body, and then applying those things to myself.
Because that's it, and this is why I really wanted to speak to you, because when we were saying before that PCOS is so interlinked with your wellness and how you're feeling and your internal altitude, say, and how you're treating your body, what you're doing, exercise, your diet, what stresses you're taking on, what things you're kind of like leaving off. It's so intertwined. And I think even when you kind of then take it back to, because you've been really open online with your challenges with motherhood and being told that this isn't something you'd be able to experience, and then obviously now you've had a baby and being able to kind of transition into that state as well. What things would you say you've kind of taken on or that you do in order to kind of promote a level of stability when it comes to your PCOS?
Yeah, so this, I suppose, it's taken on so many different forms through my journey. Wellness means so many different things, and it has meant so many different things through the years. And when I was initially understanding my PCOS and my body and the way I wanted to go ahead and balance my hormones, because when I had come off of the pill, I didn't get a period for about 8 months. And that was quite daunting to me because here I am doing everything right. I'm eating better, I'm working out, I'm taking time to sleep, but the number on the scale wasn't changing and my period's not coming back. But it was recognizing that there's no harm in me eating better, there's no harm in me working out, and there's no harm in me taking time for self-care. So when my period does come back or the numbers on the scale shift, that will happen when it happens. And that was wellness for me then. Wellness for me now as a mum is taking out even 10 minutes in the day to do something nice for myself, because as you probably know, it's go, go, go all the time. Running a business, being a mum to a 5-month-old, and then also like looking after a home is a lot. So right now my PCOS wellness looks like finding little moments where I can slow down, and to the point that I find myself being so regimented that I will in my planner put, right, who's doing the morning feed, who's doing like the afternoon feed. You have to. And when do I go to the gym? And when do I get that workout in? Because it's only when I fill my cup that I can pour into my baby, my partner, my business. So yeah, wellness has changed over time, but it's always been for a positive. And I recognize the impact that pumping synthetic hormones had on my body. But on everyone, it's different.
And in terms of kind of just like Because like you just so rightly said, I think people who kind of are like me, who don't necessarily understand the effects of PCOS, what would you say a bad day looks like?
Oh, I've had so many of these.
Yeah.
So it can be when you wake up first thing in the morning, you haven't had a good quality of sleep. You might have gotten your 8 hours, but you just didn't sleep well. You then have to power through work. You've fallen asleep, you've got brain fog. Or you wake up in the morning, and I've had moments like this where you wake up in the morning and you look in the mirror, you've broken out, oh, you need to shave again. Your hair's falling out at like the front of your head. I know I had a lot of hair loss just over here, which has gotten a lot better when I've made lifestyle changes. Like, you can't really notice it much now, but I used to not even put my hair up in a ponytail. So this hairstyle was a no-go like a good few years ago. And that's what a day used to look like for me. And that's what pretty much every day used to look like for me, where I used to then be second guessing, oh, am I getting my period today? Maybe I'll get my period next month. So that's what it looked like for me for a long time.
And where PCOS kind of just looks so different for everybody, the ranges and I was calling it flare-ups before, but you were saying you don't call it flare-ups, but like how bad it can get, it really, really drastically ranges. And you coach so many different women. So how do you then manage that? Because you've then got, we were talking before about having the symptoms without having a cyst on your ovaries, but then some people have the cyst on their ovaries, but then they don't have the system, and some have both. So how do you coach the two ends of the spectrum?
Well, I think it's about understanding each individual. And when you get diagnosed with PCOS, or at least for me, it felt like such a one-size-fits-all approach. Cut carbs, remove your favorite cultural foods, barely eat anything, just get on with it.
So is it just kind of tailored to your diet?
Yeah, so with our coaching, like for example, we have clients who might experience certain symptoms of PCOS or might have PCOS and want to try and conceive, right? So each person's plan is actually specifically tailored. So their meals are different. There is no one person on our program who has the same meal plans, who has the same workout plans, because some clients might want to work out from home. Some might want to work out from the gym. Some might have a kid and can only dedicate like 3 workout sessions, which are like 30 minutes. And everyone's habits are so different because, for example, I've got some clients who are lawyers, barely get any downtime. I've got some clients who are teachers. I've got some clients who are full-time mums, and that busy lifestyle. And then I've got some clients who are uni students. So it's about creating specific habits for each person. For example, for our lawyer clients, we might do, all right, set a habit where we go ahead and breathe in and we do a little 3-minute meditation at any point in the day where you feel really stressed out. For our university students, we might create a habit where they have to go ahead and allow themselves to be accountable to maybe 20 minutes of yoga every single day before they go to uni or after they come back from uni, because it will allow them to de-stress. And it's also about having someone who's going to listen to you, because I think a big part of someone's PCOS journey is being listened to and feeling okay to confide in someone. For a big part of PCOS, you can feel so lonely, and with so many symptoms that we face with PCOS, you do feel lonely because it's hard to open up to someone and be like, I'm going through this.
And to explain it.
Because going up to a friend, like when I was younger and I had excessive hair growth, for example, I had a boy come up to me in high school, I remember, and he came up to me on the stairs and he said, ew, you've got hair on your chin, you're a boy. And that broke my heart. I literally think I skipped probably the next few lessons and stayed in the bathroom because I didn't know what to do. I think there are certain things that you might not feel comfortable in speaking about, and it's only until you get to that point where you feel so empowered on your PCOS journey, where you start opening up to people about it and you feel confident in your experiences and also the changes that you've made. And other people can also, like you're taking the time today to like understand PCOS a little bit better. You'll be able to help your friends and your family a little bit better. So I think it's also spreading that information out there too, which can be really helpful.
Just backtracking to when you're saying that you can create like tailor-made things for people depending on their situation. So just also then bringing it back to you as well, in your time of going from being told you can't conceive to now having a baby, did you alter your PCOS, BOS, or PCOS plan? So what was the practical things that you did?
So first step was, of course, getting my period back. So I got my period back, I would say, after like 8 months of being consistent and being like, it's okay, like I'm gonna see the change, because everyone's body is so different. I got my period back. After that, it was figuring out when I was ready to get pregnant. It was figuring out when I'm ovulating. So looking at signs like your basal body temperature, looking at cervical mucus, looking at, just your energy levels in general, or even using an LH strip. They can't always be super accurate for women with PCOS, but for me, they were fine because I was getting a regular period. So once I decided that I wanted to get pregnant, I did get pregnant for the first time in June 2022. I then had a miscarriage in September 2022, and that was very disheartening as well, because when you're told you can't get pregnant, and then when you get pregnant, it's like, I suppose this is for everyone, even when you're not told you can't get pregnant, but you start envisioning that life immediately. So that's the place that I was in, and I felt so heartbroken when I had my first miscarriage in September of 2022 that I was like, oh, it's probably my PCOS. But then it was only until I took some time, and I told myself that, hey, like, actually miscarriage is so common, and it's so unfortunate that it's such a taboo especially in like Asian cultures as well. It's such a taboo that we don't talk about it. So I opened up about that on my social media as well. And then in December 2022, I got pregnant with my baby now.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'm sure that must have been even like going through that whole process as well, and being pregnant, because again, when you're pregnant, your body is rife with hormones in itself. Never your kind of just normal day-to-day, even trying to balance the hormones that you do have on a regular basis. So then I'm sure that, coupled with the anxiety that pregnancy brings in general, must have just been such a tough time.
100%. And I think the anxiety that comes with pregnancy after loss, and then also trying to make sure that you are taking care of your PCOS at the same time to the extent that you can. It was definitely a big change, and it's about, so on my own journey, like you asked, like I altered my plans through every phase of my journey. And similar to that, we'll have clients who come on board who are trying to conceive, who then end up getting pregnant. They have their baby and then they come to us postpartum. But every time on their journey, their plans are different. And I think the important thing as well about fitness training is making sure that you are pushing yourself and you're applying that progressive overload at every step. So with our clients currently, no matter where you are in your journey, like we'll update your plan around every month. Anyways, so one, you get new foods to try because everyone loves food. It's important that you eat good food and that you're enjoying your journey, but then at the same time, while you build a good relationship with food, it's important that you push your body so that you can see that change.
And then even just like whilst you're kind of going through that stage, because we spoke about a little bit of like the postpartum stuff, and how did you deal with yourself postpartum?
Postpartum, I feel like it's just been go for me. I initially did not really know what to expect. Obviously, first baby, I was like, I don't know why, but I thought maybe I'll be able to get just some decent sleep, after baby's born, but no way. It was obviously constant. So it was about being able to recognize and give myself that grace of, you don't have to eat on plan now. You don't have to work out. And I didn't, not for a good few months. And then it was only after I felt like I got into a bit of a routine that I made a bit of time for myself. Even doing at-home workouts or doing like my pelvic floor exercises on the bed while she's sleeping. Like little things like that just made a really big difference. Now I'm 5 months postpartum and I'm back into full swing, like in my PCOS journey, like meal prepping, going to the gym, weightlifting, all of that stuff. So it's, I'm in a routine now.
Do you feel a huge difference when you say you don't meal prep?
I do, because I feel like with a baby now, if I don't meal prep, I will end up snacking, or I will end up going onto Deliveroo and just grabbing something really quickly. So it's honestly, it's a game changer when I meal prep, because I know I've got my high protein meals.
Yeah.
I've got foods that are not going to have me having crazy PCOS cravings throughout the day. And sugar cravings, exactly. And things that will just make me feel good, because if I feel good, then I'm able to pour more into everything else that I want to. And when I don't feel good, those symptoms just come creeping back in, because you can't cure PCOS, you can manage it.
Yeah.
And it's about building a lifestyle that you actually enjoy so you can manage it sustainably.
Yeah. And I think, again, like, it's so important what you just said, because one of the reasons why I did want to have this conversation is because I've also got people, like I said, in my personal life that deal with PCOS, and I really wanted to better also understand how I can help and support with that, because I think what people don't realise is that it does take a bit of a communal effort. There's a lot of understanding, there's a lot of grace that you have to give, because a lot of PCOS also falls on the mental aspect of things as well. So I know, for example, one of my really, really close cousins, she was talking about, she does suffer from PCOS, and she's been on a huge kind of like weight journey. And it's so easy, especially because as someone who like works out and trains, and I really like, you know, being active, it's so easy to be like, babe, just go to the gym, babe, just eat better. But the truth of the matter is, the same way those lifestyle changes impact me don't impact her on the same way, because I'm not fighting with the same hormone imbalance. And I think there's so much stigma around PCOS, people with PCOS, dealing with them, opinions on what they should be doing, what they shouldn't be doing, and why you can't just do it because I do it and I find it easy. That your advocacy and your platform that you've built is so important, and you can tell by the amount of people that are so drawn towards you, because there are people really, really dealing with it. And I think it is back to that thing of you saying that people don't really speak up about it. I think when we were speaking earlier, you were saying that there's a lot of people that don't even realise that they have PCOS because it just goes it goes undiagnosed.
Yeah, it does.
But if, say for example, someone's sitting at home and they're watching this right now and they're listening and they're like, okay, I suffer from a lot of heavy fatigue. What are the signs of, okay, maybe I should go get this checked?
Well, I would say if you have irregular or missing periods, you have extreme fatigue, you're breaking out all the time, it's really hard for you to lose weight. Again, not everyone with PCOS is overweight. I feel like there's a big thing around BMI in our system.
I hate BMI, you know.
Hi guys, we hope you are enjoying the conversation so far. If you are, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. And also, here is 20% off on us at your next dining experience at STK using code STKR42. You are welcome. Mwah.
You know, I was told I was overweight, and I was like, sir, I'm not.
I was told I was overweight. And I'm like, you do realise that that's muscle. Your number on the scale is not really telling me much.
And not being funny, like the kind of the template doesn't apply, because where my fat or my muscle lays is completely different to what your chart is saying. It's such a flawed system, and I think it does push a lot of people into that narrative where they're now like scared, and then like, so even just talking of like my own really, really, really past experiences, I remember getting my BMI checked and being told I was overweight, and it left such a stigma in my mind, and I was so like conscious after that of everything I ate and everything that I did and going, and it was so negative. It left such a negative impact. So I can only imagine what it would have done to somebody who, it's not necessarily that you're overweight, but it's that there are hormone issues there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's so much that can be done just in terms of lifestyle.
Yeah.
Before you go and take any step of any medication, look into your lifestyle, because there are so many changes that can be made so you actually feel happier. And I think happiness is a big thing, and our words are so important in the words that we choose. That when you are in such a powerful place of diagnosing someone with anything, when you go ahead and say something like you can't get pregnant or you're overweight, and that person isn't necessarily overweight, that can then lead a person literally down the route of an eating disorder or down a really bad mental health path. So I think being able to speak with good intention or just speak with education is very important.
And then even when you are then talking about absorbing what people are saying, because like I said previously, a huge part of it is the mental impact that it has on you, and the way you then begin to view yourself, and then how you then begin to treat your body and so forth. In terms of ways that you've found helpful to deal with that side of things, to deal with your stress management and boundaries and holistic things, what are some examples that you've used?
Walking.
Yeah.
Walking is a great one. Like getting outdoors, putting a podcast in that you actually enjoy. You know, that is a game changer. I would say another thing, maybe even like if you don't have to meditate. I feel like meditation's not for everyone, and that's okay. But even just like being able to sit down and be in the present moment for 2 minutes and just breathe in and out. Bring yourself to center, and especially if you've had a really rough day, taking 5 minutes, even in the middle of that day, or if you know you've got a stressful meeting coming up, just taking a couple minutes for yourself, that's really helpful. Making certain things that you do enjoyable as well. Like no one is saying meal prepping has to be a task. No one is saying going to the gym has to be a chore. So do things that can make it enjoyable. What you can possibly do is go ahead and, you know, go do your meal prep with a Netflix show. And like, I know I've been loving like Brooklyn Nine-Nine recently. So I will literally pop my phone on the side. I will, you know, pop some Brooklyn Nine-Nine or whatever I'm watching on, and I will get my meal prep done, and before you know it, it's done. And maybe I'll like snack on a few bits of food along the way, just like make it fun. Nothing has to be a chore, whether you're on your PCOS journey or you're just on your fitness journey as well, or if you're getting a workout in. I know the other day I was doing Stairmaster and I had to get my cardio in that day, so I was on the Stairmaster and I was like, okay, cool, do you know what? I'm going to get through a few episodes of Love is Blind because that's the only way that I'm going to get through this workout. And that's what I did. So I think if you're trying to focus on your mental health, just do things that you enjoy. And even when it comes to your workouts, if you do not like weightlifting, cool, don't weightlift. Try and find something that you enjoy. If you don't like eating, I don't know, a salad, don't have a salad, but find other ways that you can go ahead and incorporate a good source of protein, good source of fats, good source of carbs. And just find balance that way.
And these are things that you tell all your clients, isn't it?
Yeah, all of them.
But you also touch on how I guess the community around them can support them, because that is really important. And
100%.
again, like when speaking of your emotional, your mental well-being, for example, if I was in your community, I'd also want to know how best to support you. So we were speaking before about like your partner and, you know, your family. What are the things that they do that make you feel supported in your journey?
So I think sometimes just asking someone genuinely, like how they're doing, makes a really big difference. Or sometimes, or a lot of the time that I experienced before I spoke about my PCOS journey, I would internalize a lot of things. So if I'm going through a really tough day and I feel exhausted and I don't know, someone's just said something that's upset me, I'll internalize it. But speaking to someone and being like, I have PCOS and let me tell you what that's about and let me tell you how that makes me feel. And then having that conversation and saying, hey, like, I would really appreciate it if you can support me like this. Setting those expectations when you want support from a person can be really helpful. So now I know when I go up to my partner and I say, hey, like I'm having a really busy day today. Is it possible you can just take this and this off my list? And that will maybe give me time to go ahead and meal prep. And I won't just meal prep for me, I'll meal prep for us. That type of thing. That's what I tend to do at home, and I get a lot of good support. I also have a free document that I share with anyone who DMs me and asks for it. I did have it as one of my links on my Instagram as well, but it's a free document that you can share with friends and family members if you feel nervous to talk about your PCOS. Because in that document, it will talk about what PCOS is. It will talk about what PCOS is and the kind of support that, you know, you might need from that individual. And then it also has, you know, support from a community perspective. So how they can maybe, whether that's follow my page or different pages that they can follow to learn more about PCOS, because there's so much out there now, which is amazing, because I feel like it allows other people to learn about hormonal imbalances, PCOS, endometriosis, women's health in general, that I feel like is often overlooked. I also think that pages like mine aren't just to be followed by people with PCOS, even people's partners or family members or friends. It's always useful to know how you can support another person.
Yeah. And it's just talking about kind of the work that you do online and your advocacy and stuff. Correct me if I'm wrong, I read an article online and you did a video some time ago. I think this is when you was pregnant and you were sweating blue.
Yes.
You were sweating blue?
Yeah. Oh my God, this is so weird. All right,
How and why? And did that have anything to do with your
It
hormones?
had nothing to do with... Yeah. So,
really?
So it had nothing to do with my PCOS.
Yeah.
However, I just think it... So it basically... I've totally forgotten the name of it. If I remember, I will let you know.
Let me know.
But it's a phenomenon where your sweat basically changes colour. And it's so funny because I went to the loo.
Yeah.
And I got up, continued with my day. And my partner comes up to me and he goes, "Are you wearing like blue jeans or something?" And I was like, "No, why?" He goes, "Why is the toilet seat blue?" And I was like, "I don't know." And then I was like, "You must have like, gone and fully just putting the blame on him because why not?"
Why not?
And then, and then I went upstairs to go and check and I was like, "Yeah, why on earth is the toilet seat blue?"
Is it like blue?
It was blue. It was blue. I then went and checked my top. Inside my top, it's all blue. I checked my bed sheets, they're blue, like stained blue. I actually have photos of it as well. And it's just a hormonal change. It rarely happens because I remember being so nervous because this was my pregnancy after miscarriage as well. I was like, oh my God, like out of all the things, why is this happening to me? And I thought, oh my God, something's wrong with me or my baby. And I called the midwives and she laughed at me on the phone. Like, okay, fair enough. Yeah, I would probably laugh on the inside. But she laughed at me because I was just like everything's turning blue. I was like, I don't understand what's going on. She was like, what do you mean? And I felt like I called the wrong number. But yeah. And then I posted it on TikTok. And it's funny because quite a few other people have experienced this.
What made you post on TikTok?
I just thought, why not?
Yeah.
I feel like I talk about so many things. Like I have
So why not?
I have nothing to hide. So why not? Like, let me just go ahead and show you a picture of my toilet seat. But that's literally how it was. And I posted it on TikTok and so many people were like, oh my God, I experienced this too. I had no idea. And then certain people were like, oh, your baby's going to be an avatar. And they were like, oh, you're having a boy. And then I was like, I'm not having a boy. I was like, it's a girl.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm having
not
a boy
an avatar.
now. How do you know? And not an avatar. But yeah, it was quite funny. Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad you can laugh about it now. That would have freaked me out.
It did. It freaked me out. I had so much anxiety.
Yeah.
Now I'm like in a good mood about it because I'm like, I've got my baby. Like,
yeah, like we're good. We've passed it. We're good. But did it when you? It's so annoying that you said that the midwife call wasn't helpful.
It wasn't.
Because I do feel as though when it does come to like health issues that are still not quite fully understood yet, such as something like PCOS. I know you said it was unrelated to your PCOS, but things are so laughed off and they're so easily dismissed.
Yeah, I think in that situation, the reason why I probably give her the benefit of the doubt is because I did call her and I was like, everything's turning blue, what's happening?
Yeah.
And so she was probably like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And I did say to her, like, I was like, oh, I got up out of bed and my sheets are blue. Like, and I had white sheets. I was like, my sheets are blue, like my top is blue. But I have experienced as well in my pregnancy, and I spoke about this as well at a certain point on social media, but I did experience quite a bit of racism during my my pregnancy journey. So I had a midwife, and I actually took this up and escalated it with the NHS, but I had a midwife who basically said to me, so I had come in for an appointment, and this was the appointment where my partner didn't come into the room. But he did drop me off, so he was just waiting outside for me. And she saw him, and then he was just like going to walk in with me because he's here anyway. She saw him, and she was just like, oh, wait outside. And in like a very like abrupt manner. And I was already nervous because this was the appointment after I'd done a bunch of tests.
And this was, this is the pregnancy after the miscarriage.
Pregnancy after the miscarriage. And then she called me inside, we sat down, and then she said, why is your partner here? And I said, oh, because he just dropped me, like, no big deal. Yeah, I was like, yeah. She was like, you could have taken the bus. And I was like, Yeah. And I was like, and I was thrown off at this point. I'm not the type of person who like really like creates an argument. I usually just like try and, you know, leave it. And then I was like, yeah, but it's fine, you know, he dropped me off, no big deal. Then we sat down and she told me that I have low PAPA, which is basically when the placenta's not getting enough blood. Yeah. So that's already thrown me off now. And I said, oh, could you tell me a little bit more about this? And she opened up my blue book and she was like, here's a number, you can call it afterwards. End of. And that was it. And then she said, well, here's what you need to focus on. She was like, you need to cut out all the curries. And like, no indication, you know. Yeah, she said, you need to cut out all the curries. And I said, what do you mean? I said, like, I eat really well. So I was like, I don't understand like what you're trying to say here. But anyway, yeah, I left that room feeling so uncomfortable, so small, so nervous because I didn't even understand what low PAPA was. I wasn't explained it. Took that up and yeah.
And how have you felt so they've dealt with your PCOS?
So my PCOS didn't really get flagged up during my pregnancy simply because I was managing it throughout. I also explained to my midwife that, you know, I've very well experienced with taking care of my PCOS. So they didn't really have much to add around that.
That whole story has floored me just because I admire the way you say that you reacted to that because Lord knows.
Yeah. And I think in the moment, when I look back at it, I'm like, oh, I should have really said something. But sometimes in the moment, you're so taken aback. Yeah. Your mind already has so many thoughts.
You're so consumed.
You're so consumed with everything else going on that's the last thing that you expect. Yeah. So when you are in that situation, whenever you look back at a situation, like, oh, I should have said this or I should have been like this, but I just didn't, and I just couldn't.
I like to put a narrator in your head that's like, you should have done this, you should have done that. But you kind of have to give yourself the grace for that because, again, it's like a situation that I'm sure you've never been in before. Yeah. But again, this is why the community that you've built is so important because there are so many things that are affecting women, like you said, with PCOS, even without PCOS, women's health, and so on and so forth, that people don't speak about enough or people don't handle appropriately. And even in just your journey of building your community and like people reaching out to you and asking for advice, what is your, say for example, for like someone who's listening now and they're literally going on your Instagram now and they're like, okay, I need help and I need coaching. What is your program standard?
Yeah, of course. So the way it works basically is you can, firstly, there is so much free advice on my page. Yeah. Like I have a bunch of PCOS highlights on my page as well. So if you're not someone who wants to get coaching right now, it's okay. Because everyone starts their journey when they are meant to. And if you just jump onto the page, you flick through the PCOS highlights, you'll get a lot of motivation from there. Yeah. You'll get also a lot of validation that you can go ahead and take care of yourself and your PCOS will get better if you put some time into yourself. So you can do it that way. You can, look through our reels. And also we have some amazing people who comment under our reels as well. And that way you might go ahead and be able to, follow even more pages that can help you. I've got some amazing dietitians who are friends that end up, commenting, some great gynecologists that end up commenting, some amazing midwives as well, that drop, little comments in. So it is a really nice community that you can just always lean on. Or if you did want to go ahead and get coaching, you can just literally click the link in my bio. Yeah. I've got a few links. So I've got my one-to-one coaching link where once you fill out that form, someone in my team goes ahead and reaches out to you within I'd say 24 to 48 hours via WhatsApp. And then, we'll have a conversation about your symptoms and how you feel and what your journey's been like. Because I think someone listening to you is so important and having someone to hear you out. So if after that, you wish to join any of our programs, we have our packages on our website as well. You can just take a look at. And then we also have a pick and mix program on there. So this is for anyone who might have a smaller budget. not ready for one-on-one coaching, wants to do something a little bit more independently, it's like 4 months access to our app where there's a recipe book in there, a bunch of workouts, and you can just, you know, start your journey that way. So you have loads of options.
And this is all curated by you?
Yeah.
That's insane. Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'm assuming a lot of this is based on just your own experience and the things that you've tried and tested that have worked for you, that haven't worked so good. So I dare think if anybody's kind of listening and they're dealing with PCOS, or they've just been newly diagnosed, or even if they have symptoms and there hasn't been a diagnosis yet, I definitely think being able to reach out to someone like yourself, or someone with a community that you've built, like you so rightly said, there are dietitians there's nutritionists, there's midwives, there's so many people that ultimately will be able to positively impact your journey.
Exactly.
That I think, your community is amazing. And we were speaking before about the events that you do, where I guess people with PCOS can kind of come and meet and speak openly and freely amongst people that just get it. Because I think a huge part of it is just finding people that just get it.
Yeah, 100%. So the last time I did an event was in 2022, actually. Right before my miscarriage. But I am planning on doing a few more events this year, so I'm going to be posting about that in a while. But I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's so important to have a community to lean on, and that's another really good part as well of our coaching and our, like, if anyone takes part in Fitness with Keisha, is that we have an area where you can just speak to the community. You can speak to other women with PCOS, other women who are trying to conceive, and it's just really nice.
And what's your mission statement? Like, what is it that you wish to do?
To just help empower women with PCOS or any type of hormonal imbalances to live their best life.
I love that. That is so lovely. And I think you're doing an amazing job.
Thank you.
And even in just how you're doing it, whilst also, because you're not at the completion of your own journey. It's still like a day-to-day thing. You might wake up tomorrow, God forbid, and be like, okay, today's a crappy day for me, but you're still making yourself available to help other people. So I think that's amazing. I think, did you have anything else that you wanted to say?
No, thank you. I'm just, really happy that I was here and got to chat with you.
Yeah, I'm really happy too. And that's it. Okay, no, we're happy. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and thank you so much, Keisha. Yeah, see you next time.